So the last thing that we did, maybe it should have been the first thing that I did, but I didn't have a title for my book. A Tale of Two Cities, and then the author. So A Tale of Two Cities. So here in Acrobat, I loaded up the PDF file, copy the text, and then I'm going to go to InDesign, and I'm going to pick my text here, and then hit the escape in the T tool, and I'm going to go to my layer, and my text is locked. So I can find that, see where it says here, it was the best of times. And I see in the text over here, it says it was the best of times. So I'm going to unlock that. And I'm going to make sure I selected that. I'm going to go click in there. And then in the beginning of the line, I added a line, hit the return, up one line, paste, A Tale of Two Cities. And then I'm going to go back here, Charles Dickens. And then because I don't want to have a stupid mistake, I copy paste it. So now I have A Tale of Two Cities, Charles Dickens. And I'm going to look at my paragraph styles. And we haven't talked about paragraph styles yet. So I'm going to start off with that. So I'm going to make a new paragraph style, and I'm going to call this body text, body copy. And I can pick a font, and I want something that looks, well, I didn't use Dido before, but let me see if I could get away with using it now. Okay. And I want to preview, but we're not seeing anything yet. So I'm just going to click OK. And nothing happened. So now I'm going to make sure that I have my text selected, and I want both of these columns selected. So I selected both of them right there. See that? I unlock them, and they're both checked over here on the right. I go to paragraph styles, select my type tool. I'm going to make sure all of my text. So I clicked in there. It's all selected. And I'm going to go to my paragraph styles and then click body. And so it was still stuck on the original paragraph style. Now if I click on that, boom, two things happen. It changed the font, and it also changed the font style. Now I can select and click in the background. I do that a lot. And I can go back into here, right click, edit body style. And the text doesn't have to be selected, but I can begin changing things. So now I can say I want that to be larger. The lidding is set to be automatic. Let's say I want it to be uh, really large. And let's say I want it to be custom. So if I want it to be super big, pick that. For children's book, yeah, maybe that's good. Now I can do a few other things here. One is that because I'm chopping this so narrow, I get hyphenated words. Like here, right down here where it says before. If I don't want hyphenation, I can uncheck that. And so it'll undo that. And we'll go with that for right now. So now I've edited that. I like it. Well, I don't really like it, but it's teaching us the principles of how to use this tool. So, but I want the title and the author's name to be set apart and different. So I'm going to pick my type here for A Tale of Two Cities. And then I'm going to create a new paragraph style. And I could tell it to be based off of the text style. So that means that it would inherit what I did. And let's just see what that is. We'll call it book title. That's the name of it, paragraph style. And I'm going to go to basic character, and I'm going to use bold. And I'm going to go larger. And then I'm going to click OK. And so then I have book title, and I can pick book title there. And so I had to do that after. So I made it, But now the leading isn't working out for me, so I right click, edit book title, leading, and I'm going to pick character, leading, see the leading was smaller. So I'm going to make that larger. And for grins, I'm going to show you some other things that we can do. I'm going to have this be right justified. And what else do I want to do? A Tale of Two Cities. And let's even make that larger. So it's a character 38. There we go. I like 40. Let's do 48. I keep thinking in terms of standard leaded typefaces. Okay. We'll do 60. Okay. So I have that. And I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to go back in. I'm going to hit Escape V. Pick my text, and I'm going to pick Charles Dickens. Okay. And so his name, I want that to be Dido too, but I'm going to change that. So I'm going to make another paragraph style. I'm going to call that author. And I'm going to make sure I apply that. So I clicked it, author, and that was based on the previous one. So now I'm going to edit author. I'm also going to tell that to be right justified. I'm going to go to my font, character. I'm going to tell that to be the italic. And then I want that size to be a little bit larger. Okay. Or let's try smaller just for grins. 18. Okay. Now, my spacing wise, I want a little bit more space between the top and the bottom. And you have to have a strategy for working on this. Since I only have one book title and one author title, the way that I'm doing it right now will work. I can add spacing before this text, so I can click in here, and it's adding space above anything that it's using a character style for author. And I can go space after, and then I can add space after that. So let's say I really want it to be laid out like that. I can do that right here. So fine, dandy. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to go back to my body text. And I'm going to say, well, Garman, that's ridiculous. It's huge. I'm going to edit that. And let's pick something that's more book size, like 12. Or 12's even big. Okay. But I pick that, and then I can pick a smaller leading. Sometimes Dido is kind of hyper leaded anyway. So I pick that. And let's just pick 20. Okay, that's pretty thick leading, pretty heavy leading. I'll go in here. And so now I got that. Now, one problem I have is that my paragraph spacing, that's really wide. So remember, in my Word file, I had these double paragraph spacing. So I'm going to go in and delete those. But that's too narrow also. I don't really like that. So I want something in between. And so what I'm going to do, and that got picked. So I'm going to make sure I pick Charles Dickens and make sure he's selected the author. Okay, that happened. Okay, and I'm going to make sure my top text is lined up on the top. Okay, that's good. So anyway, I had to go back in and pick the Charles Dickens that went away by accident. So my style, go back to book title, pick that, and I'm going to go in. I adjusted my leading, so now that's looking kind of good. Now I have hanging text over here, and also my right paragraph is not quite lined up. So I'm going to go here. I got the selection tool, and I'm going to make sure that it just snaps to that. And believe it or not, somewhere down the road that could actually affect things in a big way. Pick that one. So even though it was slight, I just want it to be right on the money. That's why I have margins. Okay, and then I accidentally did something that moved it. I have to be really careful. So because I made a selection and a slight nudge, something changed and I didn't want it to change. So that's why I'm going to lock these guys because I don't want to accidentally go in there, pick it, slide it. And until I got the hang of that, that happened to me a lot and it caused great trouble. Okay. So now my type here, you can see these paragraphs are starting with, so Tale of Two Cities, so it's starting with the title. And here, winter, so up there in winter, if I pick that, it doesn't let me pick it because it's locked. So I'm going to unlock it, collect it. And now I can see that arrow down there. So now I'm going to, this allows me to take the rest of the text and move it to the next page. So I can select that. And then once I did that, once I just clicked on it, it's no longer red, but I got this text hanging on the tip of my mouse. That sounds so weird. Okay. And then I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do 2 and 3. So remember the last page had 3 and then 2? Here I'm going to do 2 and then pick that one down there and pick 3 here. And I can go all the way down to the bottom, even though I know that I'm not going to have it go all the way down to the bottom. Okay. So now in my layers, if I look back in my layers for page 1 and 2, you can see here it says her and, so I'm on page 1, but it's showing me this page 2 stuff. So what I need to do is move that down to, so I need to unlock page 2 and move that down to page 2 and see where it says and spending up here and spending here. Click that, move that down to Siri thinks that I want her attention. I didn't get that. Could you try that again? No. Okay, go away, Siri. So now those texts are there and they're on page 2. They're no longer on page 1. So if I go back to page 1, we're going to see that. And so this is why I like locking pages and making sure that I'm just working on the correct page. Because when I first started learning InDesign, I had no idea what was going on. And this was totally confusing. And for me, I like on what's on one page onto one page. Now, this is a strategy for something that's very illustrative like this, where maybe the text that you have on each individual page just needs to be exactly on that page. And that's why it's important to show you this in this example. But you may have a really large book where you only have it by chapter. So whatever's on page, you don't have it broken down the page, you have it broken down by chapters. And so you may have a different strategy for each thing that you're working on. And is there something else I can help with? Now my phone Siri thinks that I wanted me to talk to it. Okay. So we're going to clean up this, but we're going to do this in the last video.